more kill, and he'll get his ulti.
He's a body!
What? How much HP did Mana have going through that? Shroud now has ulti. Mana, 20 HP. It is borderline impossible for Mana. 15 seconds left. Swings out. Mike Tyson survives at the end, and Sentinels win a best-of-3 in VCT.
So yes, it did actually happen. Sentinels did manage to win a game. It's been a while, but it did actually happen. And we're going to take a look at their game versus Shopify Rebellion on Fracture. Another close, crazy, tense map that, of course, went to overtime like it seems every other map does in LCQ. But let's take a look at it. And we'll begin here with round number 1, right at the start, where Sentinels are on the defense, and they are going to start off with some aggression, which was fairly common, I would say, overall. You know, they're trying to find this first kill by pushing out with the knee on the brim and the breach right there, as you see. But actually, as you can kind of tell here, Shopify are just going to go for a quicker A hit, as you see there. So we're going to see the early aggression, but the Chamber is going to manage to TP out as soon as he sees it and get away there. Now he crosses the rope, and Shopify are ready to come in for this A hit. And so, well, it's going to be pretty pacey, right? They destroyed the Chamber trap, and in they come. Smokes come down, stuns come in, breach stun as well, and in they come, and Tens is forced to TP out, and we end up in this 5v5 retake with the spike going down. But Shopify are going to make an interesting choice here. Not necessarily a mistake, maybe a mistake in terms of the time that they decide their choice, but essentially what normally happens on these A retakes when the spike is planted here, 5v5 retakes like this, what normally happens is you get a big battlefield right here. Because what the defenders don't want the attackers to be able to do is just to stand here and just spam the spike, right? With mollies, with just their guns, just spam the spike, right? It's in this corner. That's what the attackers, the defenders, sorry, they don't want that to happen, right? So normally what happens is the defenders will try and retake this space. Now the quickest way to get there for the defenders is through this door. So what you'll often see is a little crossfire here between the attackers, where you get something like this and this as you try to stop them coming through this door, and normally you get a big battle in this area. Thing is, this is a pistol round, so I think that is why Shopify don't go for kind of what is the normal play here of coming towards A main, and they stick on site instead. Now, sticking on site is quite dangerous, and the reason that I think they decide to do this is because of this smoke, right? They only have pistols, so they don't feel as comfortable, I think, with the idea of spamming through this smoke, because they only have pistols and they don't feel, as comfortable doing it with pistols rather than guns. So instead, they decide to come on site. Now, the thing is, the problem with that is if you stay here too long, if you give up this space and Sentinels can just come here and here, you're just in a lot of trouble, because now you're fighting in two different angles and you're not going to know which way, to look and which way to try and fight on. So you have to try and push one, and eventually they are going to try and push this way. But that, again, is quite risky, I would say. It's not nearly as easy as just holding a space, right? Having to push out into a space. And so, it's not going to end up going great for them, and it is a bit of a risky play, and I think, honestly, they probably would have been better off just playing this kind of normally and simply, because as you'll see here, Sentinels are about to go and retake A main, and they are going to run into that problem that they take too long, kind of, to actually, make this decision to push. You see where they are right now. They kind of take a bit too long, and so Sentinels come in the door. They actually smoke this off because they're worried about this crossfire. They take this A main control, and now Shopify try to actually run out here, but they run straight into Shazam, who actually I think manages to hit a collat and kills 2 players. But now these players that are stuck here, right, now they're suffering the problem that I was talking about before, that when these players start to come in from this direction, you don't know which way to look. They do actually manage to get that first kill, but now Shroud is just going to mop these 2 players up, as, again, they're kind of fighting and trying to isolate different angles and stuff, and they're kind of stuck there, and so they end up dying, and we end up with Sentinels in this 3v1, and they will clean up. So yeah, not necessarily like a big mistake. I understand what Shopify, I think, are trying to do there, but it just seemed like a bit more of a risk than perhaps, it really needed to be. But then after taking an early lead, as you can see here, it's 4-2, Sentinels would start to crack, and it would actually end up being 7-4 to Shopify Rebellion as we went forward in this game. And little things like this that Sentinels did were, just a bit kind of weird. So Shopify come in, they do an early breach stun towards A, okay? But what Sentinels are going to do is they're going to try and just guess the timing and go for a breach ult here and have these players pushing over there, okay? The problem with this is, of course, you don't know if there is anyone there, of course, but at least that would give them the control if there was no one there. But secondly, you don't know if someone has actually just walked past this, right? And that is exactly what's going to happen. They miss the timing, someone does walk past it, and you'll see that that ends up punishing them. But what I really don't understand about this is it's so easily fixed by just having your neon kind of just jump spotting here to see if anyone's there, right? And then as soon as you see them, then ult and then go, right? Like, I really don't understand why, you know, that isn't the case. It seems like such a simple thing that rather than having your neon here, just have them there. You know, the neon can still run, zoom in, right? And still find these kills whilst these people are stunned. So I really just don't understand why this is the setup rather than just having Xelsis, you know, come towards here and just jump spots so they can, you know potentially whether to use this ult or not, because you're going to see the Dazzle is just going to walk in and this breach ult is going to come out right now, but it's too late. And the two players just run straight into him, and Dazzle ends up with a 3k, and the round is pretty much already over. And this is honestly something that I just really don't quite understand. It seems like such an odd choice overall for Sentinels, and yeah, they end up just saving here with Shroud and Tens. But there was, you know, quite a few different moments like this. I mean, from both games that we saw, both Cloud9 and the Guard game as well, had similar moments to this where it was just like, where it seemed like such simple things could be done just to, like, you know, make things slightly more optimal or make things, you know, have a higher chance of succeeding. Now let's come to round number 15 and Sentinels attacking side now. And this actually Sentinels a bonus. They managed to win the pistol and the second round as well. But they're going to come up with a bit of a risky, interesting idea, I think, for this bonus round, as you will see. Because what they're going to do is just quickly push the stairs. KO knife comes in, wall comes in. We're going to get the smokes. We're going to get a breach stun down here as well. But crucially, what's going to happen is Xelsis is going to push like this. So that's why this breach stun comes in, right, to help him if anyone's close on this angle, but he's going to find the first kill by just being a bit sneaky there. And you can see that they kind of guessed the right side as no one was really watching this, and so they come in and you see that Xelsis just completely catches Dazzle off guard, manages to get the first kill, and fades away into the night as well. Now whilst that's going on, Tens is obviously watching the flank, and his trap actually goes off as well, and Tens you know, manages to find himself. He wasn't having like the best game, but that was a nice moment for him right there, and he gets that kill. He actually is going to end up with a 4k, as he had a bit of a quiet first half, but he kind of came into it towards the end, and he manages to get Tig there as well. The B-Dog ends up in a 1v4, and I like this, right? Bonus round, take a bit of a risk, right? Try and go for something a bit different, and you see Tens there ends up with a 4k and manages to win the round for Sentinels, and this did really set them up to potentially win this game. But now let's come to round 22, because it was 12-9 to Sentinels, actually 12-8 to Sentinels, but this would go to overtime. And I think a big reason why this went to overtime is that SR got a very good read of what Sentinels were doing, and this round shows it pretty well, because what Sentinels tended to be doing on their attacking side here was essentially going, you know, to one side of the map, trying to just push towards one side of the map, and if it didn't work, they would go quiet, but they would stay there. You know, they weren't actually rotating, or they wouldn't even try and pressure any other side of the map. They'd just stay here and then wait to re-hit that site. And pretty much they were doing this, you know, for most of the game. And SR, by the end of the game, started to catch on. And so what you'll see in this round is that we're going to get some, actually, it looks like they want to be a bit aggressive, both teams. They kind of see each other. KO Knife spots 4. Now SR are going to keep 4 people here, right? And they're going to keep 4 people here, even though this chamber is going to, I don't understand the setup from SR either really here, because they have the chamber trap here. Like, no one is watching this, right? No one's watching this. So Sentinels start to come in a bit, but they can't really find, you know, much progress, and they actually try and take a bit of tower control, but then Dazzle, you know, keeps tower there with some good util from the rest of his team. So we end up in kind of this stalemate position. I don't know why this chamber is here. I know obviously they know that people are on this side of the map, but they could just come under the underpass. And as I said, no one is watching this, right? But look, there's no even thought that Sentinels would ever even try to go there, right? Because they just had not been doing that kind of thing. Pretty punishable if SR did continue to play like this, to be honest. And as I said, I don't understand why this chamber isn't really watching A main with the trap here. That would seemingly make more sense, right? Just in case they did come here. But for whatever reason, they don't. And you see the Sentinels, they got stopped early on. They just stay, right? They just stay. And you see the SR, though, they stay as well. They even throw a KO knife that doesn't see anyone. And they still don't even really start to rotate. And we end up in this situation where Dazzle managed to find Shroud just under the tower there. The spike goes down, and now Sentinels try and make their move. But as I said, no one from SR has moved. They're still attacking into a site with 4 people. Zelsis is going to manage to find a kill, and really Zelsis, like he did in a couple rounds, is just going to try and drag Sentinels over the line here. But he's not going to be able to quite do it. Mata finds tens. We end up in, again, this 3v3 after that kill. Now a 3v2. Well, Zelsis, again, is going to manage to try and drag this round in their direction by finding this kill on Tig. We end up in a 2v1. This isn't going to be great from SR either here, as Moose gets this kill. But now, of course, you're in a 2v1. Why is Moose running up here? I don't know. When B-Dog is so far away, he should definitely just wait. But he tries to take this fight right now, dies. We end up in a 1v1 where all of a sudden it's very losable. Don't know why Moose did that, really. Obviously, you should be waiting for your team there. Zelsis tries a nice little attempt with the slide that obviously he regained after getting those kills. But B-Dog does find the shot and managed to defuse the spike for SR. And this was a big theme that SR, started to read into Sentinels as to what they were doing. They wouldn't rotate when Sentinels went silent because they knew that they were going to stay there and re-hit the site. And now let's come to overtime and round number 29. Overtime was very back and forth as well, but let's start with this one. And SR are on the attack here and Sentinels are on the defense for this one. But I really just want to start off by talking about this chamber setup and why it is so horribly bad, because both B-Dog and Tens did this during the game and they both got punished for it in the exact same way, because it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And I am begging you, if you play chamber on this map, please don't do this, because what's going to happen here is you see that B-Dog has his anchors set up like so, but he's put his trap down towards A, right? Straight away, the alarm bells should be ringing that doesn't make any sense, right? Because especially if you're going to play here and start picking this, you don't know what's going on over here. What if someone sneaks up here? And so this rendezvous doesn't make any sense, because if you come down, if you end up like in this spot here, end up in a fight and then TP away, but you don't know what's going on here, well, you're just out in the open and you might die. And guess what's going to happen this round? And guess what happened to Tens when he did this as well? Exactly the same thing, where teams will often get very aggressive down here, right? They will do north side pinches. And so if you are alone on one side of the map of Fracture, I don't care what agent you're playing, if you are on your own, you must play close to the rope, because that is your escape route, okay? That is the way you get out. That is how you survive, and you give your team a chance at winning this round. You do not, and I repeat, I don't care if you're chamber or not, right? You do not try and fight anything, really, if you are on your own. You need to stay close to the rope. And if you don't want to do that, then get someone else on your side of the map. Because what you're going to see here is the rest of SR are going to go for a fast B play, and that's going to work. They're going to get the site. But Sentinels are going to go for this fast north side pinch. And I think Shroud here does end up seeing B-Dog. He TPs away. And so what happens? Zelsis goes, oh, he TP'd? Oh, I'll just run here then and get a free kill. Right, and this happened to Tens as well. And so they just end up in a 4v5. And honestly, as soon as this setup was made, it was already a 4v5 as soon as Sentinels decided to go for a pinch there. So yeah, don't do that, is my little tip. And it kind of shocked me that, we saw it from both sides make the exact same mistake, because that should not really be a mistake that is happening at this level. I feel like, teams should probably already know that that is not a suitable option as a chamber to do that. But let's see. As we run this round forward, we are actually going to get some trades here, as now obviously Sentinels are coming back across the other way. They've lost the site, but of course now it's a 5v4 retake. Crucially as well, Zelsis has decided to take the rope. This I think is a really, really good decision. To try and retake from as many different areas as you can. Obviously, they don't really know what's going on across here, but obviously SR know that Sentinels have pushed this, so they're trying to, reclaim some space, and in a 4v5, they're trying to take a risk. So ideally, really, there shouldn't be too much here. He might find a 1v1 down here, so I really like this decision, and you see it will pay off for them as well. They're going to get a free kill because he takes the rope. So we end up in this battle here. Tig flashes out. He manages to find Shroud. Tens eventually comes out and swings and manages to actually find 2 kills there. But then Moose, who is underneath here, he's in the little underpass. He's going to find not 1 but 2 kills there as he gets Tens as well. But now this is the decision that wins them, as Moose thinks, right, I've got my 2 kills. They know I'm here. Now I'm going to run back. But he runs straight into Zelsis there and manages to die as well. So we end up in a 2v1. And what's going to happen here is obviously in a 2v1, pretty difficult for Dazzle. And, they probably know that he's around this area. That's kind of the most likely place, and then he actually flashes, which tells them even more so that he's in that area. They aftershock. Zealous actually hit a headshot on him as well. They start tapping the spike. He goes for his aftershock to try and get them off the spike, but now we're in this situation where Zealous eventually is just going to swing up and manage to find Dazzle and get that kill and get the defuse for Sentinels. Good round from Zealous again, but again, do not do that chamber setup, I beg you. And now finally, let's come to the final round, round number 32, which is not a great round of Valorant. As you will see, quite a few mistakes were made in this one. But let's take a look at it. As we'll see here, what's going to happen, it's going to start off with a pretty big mistake to right off the rip, is we're going to get this KO knife, right? And B-Dog here is outside of the range of this KO knife. But for whatever reason, he's about to go walking into it, right? Just as it goes off, which is about now, he takes a step forward and gets hit by it. And that obviously is a massive problem when you're playing a chamber and you're trying to play aggressive to TP out. That all of a sudden, because you decided to walk into this KO knife, now you can't TP out. So what you're going to see is that B-Dog is going to be suppressed here, and Zealous sees him. And now Sentinels, knowing that he's suppressed, know that he can't get out. And he decides too late to try and get out as well. So Zealous is going to make the most of that and just slide in and get a free kill. Because he just walked into a KO knife that he did not need to. But now in this position, I remember vividly thinking like, oh, okay, Sentinels, slow down, take your time, right? Shazam's just used his breach stun out in A main. You know, you just use the KO knife, just wait for that to come back. Right, you can stay here, you can go to B, either is fine, just wait for your kind of to settle yourself down, right? 5v4, you should win the game, just wait for that initiator utility to come back, and then, you know, get onto the site and win this round. So what did they decide to do? No, none of that, right? Like, why would we wait for these guys here? And as I said, Shopify at this point had a pretty good read of what Sentinels were doing. Wherever we first see them, that is where they're going. So as soon as they really probably saw that KO knife, these rotates are already coming in, right? They're ready to fight on A because they know that Sentinels will probably end up there. And so, yeah, they're going to run in with, you know, without all of their utility. They're only going to send in, you know, the smokes, the neon wall, a KO nade, and the neon stun. And they're actually running into more people than I think they expect because Matt is already here. He gets a kill and Moose gets a kill as well. And all of a sudden, we're in a 3v4, you know, because they just kind of got a bit too eager as they were a bit prone to doing, I think, in the later stage of this game. Maybe, you know, feeling that pressure a bit more. So we end up in a 4v3. But again, SR, you know, are pretty confident. Well, you know, they are still going to stay here and try and, you know, find a kill and re-hit the site. And actually, they do manage to find a kill right there with Shazam. And Shroud tries to get one as well from the top here. But Tig is about to make, honestly, I have absolutely no idea why he does this. It doesn't make any sense what he's about to do. Because he's about to go, this is a 3v3, right? And they feel pretty confident in knowing where they are. And even if they do go to the other side and plant, you know, it's still a 3v3 retake. You're still fine. He knows that Shroud is up here, right? He's seen him shooting, right? So they're aware that Shroud is up here. He's going to go jumping up here, and I have absolutely no idea. What perhaps is even worse is he has a flash as well, and he's not going to use it. He's just going to jump up blind and give Shroud just like a free kill in a 3v3. I have no idea why he does this. This is a monumental mistake. But he does it, and it cost them the game, to be honest, because it is that bad of a decision. And then finally, for the first time, I think in this entire game, Sentinels decided, oh wait, there is another site. We can run to that other site now as well. Oh, I kind of forgot that was a thing, because as I said, normally they were just sticking around, but then finally they decided, oh wait, we can run the other way, and so they do run the other way, but actually. SR are coming across as well. I guess they heard the footsteps of someone running on either side. And so we end up in this situation, 3v2. Mada is going to walk through a Brim Molly and, you know, somehow live. Shroud is going to get a massive kill on Dazzle. This is the kill that really wins the game. Shroud is then going to make, I think he tweeted about this as well, no idea what this Brim ult is, right? Like, they know where Mada is. Why on earth, after he's come out here, would he run back here? I don't know. And I guess he just misplaced it or something. But he starts to plant the spike, and Tens eventually is going to win the game. As I said, not the prettiest round to end it. Not the prettiest game, to be honest, either. But an entertaining one nonetheless. And obviously Sentinels will go on and play in the next round.